So now I'd like to show a simple way of using the color controls in After Effects when creating a template. For the purpose of this tutorial, I just created a simple transition or breaker. So it would look like this. It animates in some text here and then animates out again. But let's just remove everything and start from scratch. So let's just start with creating the square composition. Let's call it color control, because that's what we're looking at. 30 frames per second, 10 seconds, and that's all good. So let's just start with building that transition. So I'll just double click the rectangle tool, so that I get the rectangle size of the composition itself. I'll just add an animation to this one. That looks pretty good. And so in the example I had, then I have 3 of these basically. Let's just call this one in 1, in 2, and 3. Because we'll also do out 3 out ones as well. So now I already see that I can probably shorten down composition quite a bit. Just trim it to there. In and out. And to make it obviously animate out, not just in again like it does now, I'll use this last one as a mask for the rest of the layers. So just mark everything and pick with the track mat this way. And I guess I'll have to click this one, and then it should, yeah, that now works as a mask, so then it animates in and out. But when I create this template, I might not want to use these exact colors, and I would like to have the option of using different color schemes. So what I'll start with doing is that I'll create a control layer, so an adjustment layer that I just name control. I go to the effects and presets panel. I search for the drop down menu control, drag that in, and I'll call that color scheme. And for the purpose of this template, I'd like one to be light, one to be dark, and one alternative alt, like that. So I'll start with adding some fill layers here that in turn will control the fill color in these shapes. So I'll just search for fill. Actually, in this case, I can also use the color control. It's basically the same as a fill, if you have a look at it. The only difference is that the fill actually gives color to the adjustment layer. So maybe let's use color control. So let's call this one white. So we'll create one that we call black, and a third one that we call alt for alternative. And still this does nothing to these layers. But let's start controlling that now. So for the light color scheme, I'd like the this one here to be light. And for the dark, the black one or the dark color scheme, I'd like this one to be black. And then for the alt, I want this one to be the alt color. So we can start with adding expressions to this layer. But first, open up the controller again, and we can lock this one here, so it's easy to reference back to it. And then I'll open up the properties for this layer. I'll expand this one a bit so you can see it work. I'll locate the fill and the fill color. So I alt click on this stopwatch. Start with writing if, and then brackets, and I pick whip this to the drop-down menu. So if the drop-down menu is set to light, which is the first option, I want this fill color to be white. And if not, else semicolon. Again, if the drop-down menu equals, and this time 2, which is the dark, I would like it to be black. And if that's not the case, and it's, oh, I forgot the brackets here. Bracket in, if it's 3, which is the alt, then I'll want this paint to be the alt color. Close it up with a semicolon, and let's click out. So now it's light, dark, alt. So it works. And now we have to change the other ones to work accordingly. So now this is set for the in animation, but the out animation still is not controlled by this. It still has these random colors. But basically we want the out one to have the same expression as the in one. So I'll just copy this one. So now this is what we have. Animates in, and animates out, and we can control the colors of this transition. But perhaps we also would like some text, and text. This is my text. This is obviously hard to read because this is white on white basically. But let's choose the dark scheme. It looks better. But to solve this in the case of light, I think we can let the color of the in one control the color of the text layer. So to do that, we can just pick the fill. That's not the right place. We want it to be on the text layer. That's other controls. And then we just pick whip this one to the fill color here. So the effect, fill on the text. And the fill color here, which already has this expression we added earlier. You just alt click on the fill of the text and pick whip that down to the fill layer of or the fill property of in one, like that. So now this is my text. If I change the color scheme to dark, it goes white, and if I change it to alt, it stays white. So we always have good contrast. But this also gives the text some animation, because now it looks a bit odd. Then it looks like this. This is my text. Perfect. So now we can compile this composition as a template that we can use in After Effects and in Premiere Pro as well. So for that, we just locate the Essential Graphics panel, which if you don't have open, you'll find on the window, and it's right here. So if I open up my controls, what I'd like to be controllable in the template is basically the color scheme, the alt color, and we also would like to add the source text. We might also want to add the option of turning on and off the text. So for that, checkbox controller, add it on the control layer. call it text. And in the text, we locate the opacity. And we add the expression saying if checkbox equals 1, then the opacity should be 100. And if it's not 1, then it should be 0. Semicolon, like that. On. Perfect. And then we also drag that effect here. And then we name our template. Let's call it Square Transition. It's a good name. And before we export that out or start using it, we want to also make sure that the duration of this template is adjustable, that it can be stretched without losing animation. So to do that, we go to Composition, Responsive Design Time, and we create an intro. And then I drag it to the end or to the last keyframe of the intro animation. And also make sure that it covers the last frame of text animation. And then I go up to the same place again, create an outro. Make sure that starts where the text starts disappearing, and I drag it out to the end. Okay, so now if I want to have a look at how it looks inside After Effects, I can just create a test composition where I drag in the color control composition we just created. And we can see that this one also now has the in and out animation, and I can freely stretch it as I wish, in and out. But if I want to use it in inside of Premiere Pro, then I have to export it as a motion graphics template. So if I just click that, it will save my project and then asks me where I want to save my template. So I just find a nice location for that on my computer, save, and I click OK. Just click OK. And now I got my template exported. So if I now open up Premiere, I've just placed in two of these video clips that come with Premiere that you see on the start screen. So I just click on this button in the bottom right corner, install motion graphics template, locate my template on my drive. I open that up, and now that shows up on the top here with a video preview. I can just drag this template in, a new layer, animates in, animates out. So now if I want to do any changes to the color or to the text, I just click this layer, and on the right I get the Essential Graphics panel where I can turn off my text, on. This is my new text. I can change the color scheme to alt dark. I can change the alt color to something else. Maybe I want it to be something like a teal blue. Doesn't look too bad. So yeah, that's how you can create a transition template with color controls and also with text controls that can be used inside of After Effects and inside of Premiere Pro. Thanks for watching.